Welcome to the Seller Roundtable e-commerce coaching and business strategies with Andy Arnott and Amy Wees.
So, I'm curious when people are using Zon Tracker, are you doing? I'm assuming that because you're tracking conversions, the goal when they spin up the campaigns are going to be conversions, correct? Or is it going to be clicks or what clicks with a secondary as conversions, or how are you having people set those up?
Yeah, you said it very basically, but I'm going to make a very key distinction there is that Facebook has never had the functionality to optimize for like Amazon purchase. So it's actually a new Zon Tracker feature. Like it just came out within the past couple of months where you can optimize your Facebook ads for Amazon purchases. And there's no other way. There's like other features that it has, and there's like you can do it manually, or there's other softwares that do it. But this one, it's newest thing. Like you can't do it any other way. So this is where it's kind of like having the Facebook pixel on Amazon. It's like a workaround. It's not exactly that. Like Amazon doesn't have that functionality. So you're telling Facebook get me more Amazon customers. And this is like the next level of having lookalikes or similar audiences to Amazon customers. This is like active ad delivery for Amazon purchases. So yes, you do that. But when you choose that objective, you're telling Facebook, charge me more money, because you're selecting a higher cost higher quality objective. So Facebook knows like who are shoppers or not, versus clicks or different engagement. Those are typically cheaper. So this is where order matters. As you're starting to test campaigns, you want to go with the lower quality objectives because they're cheaper. You're going to get way more data faster to kind of narrow down the direction of the Facebook algorithm to know who to show your ads to and how they're showing it. So first, like any of the engagement ones is the best practice, whether it's video views, click, page post engagement, like all of those, like messages, like test all of those. And then in between is some sort of custom conversion, getting people to click onto Amazon, going to Amazon. This is where you can get really strategic. I only see advanced brands doing this, but I think like smaller brands, intermediate brands can do this too, is putting those links in places that you can advertise, like a third-party website, like a third review, like some sort of funnel where it's not like just on your website or immediately in your messenger bot, but somewhere later on, you have a link that if someone clicks it, you're optimizing on that link click. So you may start off with 10,000 people seeing your ad and 1,000 people clicking and in your journey, and then 100 see it down the funnel somewhere. Like Facebook is going to optimize for that like downstream process like way later. So you can use that strategically. And then the next level beyond that is optimizing for purchases. But you kind of need the previous data for the purchases to be even more effective. So it's like a sequence. And then once you're starting to get Amazon purchases and it's trackable, then do all of them at the same time, because that's where campaign structure is important, right? How I was saying before, you still need those low quality ones. They're like building up your top of the funnel, or it's like building up your awareness for the bottom funnel ads to be more effective. And Amazon sellers, again, have that advantage where like this funnel looks a little bit different than normal e-commerce just to your website.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think a lot of people, especially we have a lot of, this is true for a lot of PPC customers as well. Just advertising in general, when people don't have a lot of experience with ads, is testing is huge. Testing different ad formats, like you said, video, chats, all the different types of, all the different ways of targeting. There's so many different knobs to turn that, that's how you really find kind of the gems. It's the same thing with PPC. You have to do a ton of testing first to find out what's going to work really well. And some of the things that that people don't realize is there's some really kind of neat tools, and I'm not affiliate or anything. Just one of the tools we use that's really neat for Facebook. Yeah, but I don't know if you've heard of this. Is Ad Espresso. It was recently bought out, I think, by like Hootsuite or somebody. But it's pretty cool. You can like spin up like 50 different versions of the same ad with like a different title. It's kind of like A/B testing on steroids. Now, I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm just saying it's really easy to A/B test. You can actually do that directly on Facebook now as well, but Ad Espresso like makes it super easy to spin up a bunch of different types of ads really quickly. So that's what we've been doing a lot, and that's been working really well to just be able to like A/B test and figure out what works. And we'll do the same ad with like 10 different colors of background, or like one that has a sale icon on it, one that doesn't. Like, in other words, you can really, really test the heck out of, doing all different types of ads and then figure out what's going to work the best.
Yeah. Ad Espresso is really good. One advanced version of the process. So one thing I like to do, and kind of like reverse engineering Ad Espresso and adding a step before Ad Espresso. And I have different presentations. So this one is really exciting one for a lot of people. Like, it's having a big impact on improving their ads. These are kind of like the easy things. Well, not easy. Let me but ways of improving your ad performance. And so what Ad Espresso does, let's say you have like 3 images and like 3 headlines, and you mix them, and it's going to be like 9 different variations, right? But the problem with that is when you're optimizing and scaling. So there's kind of different phases. That one of the things I do for like most campaigns when I start off, I have like 40 or 50 variants of an image. Everything else is the same. So it's like 50. Some people are like, oh my gosh, like 50 really? I'm like, yes, that's how you're going to find the ones that have 5% click-through rate versus 48 of them that are like, 1%, 3% click-through. You just need a few of those that's going to like change your entire business. And you do that by forcing yourself to come up with all that variety. And then it's a relative comparison. What are like the top 5 best out of the 50. And then you do the same thing for headlines. But let's say you combine all of them, those 50 and those 50 together, that would be like 250 variations, right? So in Ad Espresso, usually to have 200 or to have, like, usually you have like, you just need way less variations that are going to add up to a lot of variations. I do that at a later step, because if you mix all of those, there's going to be you're basically mixing crappy images with crappy headlines. That's what you're doing as well. So you're losing a lot of ad spend. But so what I like to do is do all of those best images, all of those best copy. And when I narrow it down to like the top 20% within each, then those are the ones that you could put into Ad Espresso or like manually, or the dynamic creative features, or doing that. But after you narrow down in like a manual process of that. Otherwise, I would say like 75 to 50% of your ad spend is on ads that are always going to have low click-through rate. There might be like one that jumps out because of a certain combination, but usually the top ones are going to outperform that anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Segmentation. So like testing one thing at a time. So like Yev was saying, like test an image and then test the title and then test the description, then test the button, whether it's like a shop now or whatever, there's so many different aspects of that ad. But I think what you're saying is segment that and make sure that you're not testing more than one at a time, because you're going to get some really wonky data, because there's going to be so many different variations. You would literally have to let that campaign run for months and months to actually get reliable data.
Yeah, exactly. And then you do want to like mix it, but that's like the second step. And that's where I've seen some of the magic happen. You mix things in combinations you didn't think of, and click-through rates go from 5% to like 10 or 15% just because of that combination. So you need that, and then you don't care about controlling the variables, what you were just saying. But in the first step, you kind of do, just to have better interpretations.
Right. No, it's all great stuff. So Yev, kind of what do you see, all this being said, it sounds like, you're working with a lot of agencies and things like that. Can you share with us, like, what do you see that's working the best now? Is it video ads? Is it bots? Kind of what do you see like today? What seems to be trending? What seems to be like what's really working for a lot of the Amazon sellers? Is there any one that stands out?
Yeah, there is. So it's a mix of the different topics we're talking about, and what's becoming more important is less about, is it like video versus image? Is it landing page versus chatbot? It's more about the journey is actually a factor that's becoming important. And this is because there's so much ads, so much content. We hear about this like 10 years ago. Somebody was probably saying the same, like, oh, everybody's overwhelmed. So the multiple touch points is where that effectiveness, there's like some sort of leap happening there, especially for Amazon brands that are using a combination. There's a lot of strategies, and I feel like there's a lot of talks out there now and different examples of like, here's a messenger bot template or a funnel kind of like to ranking. There's a lot of those, and a lot of those work. You just have to like test it and see if you're having effect. So that's actually like good for us, where there's like so many examples now compared to like even half a year ago. So rather than like saying exactly an example of that, because that varies too much across brands. But what I'm seeing is that, if someone says like, oh, like a video or image, there's still a lot of variety where an image for some brands works better than a video, because a video it describes more, so people know what it is and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool, but I don't really need it because the video explains everything. The image has like more curiosity, so opportunity for more curiosity. You're not shooting yourself in the foot by explaining everything. So then people click it and you're driving down the cost. So you're just getting more people to your website at a lower cost. So that's why, carousel or what type of like landing page or chatbot, you could figure out with any of those. So that's where it varies too much across brands, but just going to repeat where testing the funnel is where I've seen the biggest differences, where someone is like not even close to like breaking, they're not even getting Amazon sales. They're starting with Facebook ads and they see that they're getting some sales, but usually that's velocity of traffic. It's not your Facebook ad led someone to buy. It's that Amazon is receiving traffic and they're rewarding you like temporary boosts, and you're getting sales organically from Amazon customers because of the external traffic, but that's not scalable. Like Amazon stops that at a certain point. So people are like, I think I'm getting sales because I turn on the ads. When I turn off the ads, I'm not getting the sales. Yes, but that's usually like a couple of units a day. And as soon as you increase the budget, you need a good funnel, and then the other things matter, like the reviews on the product, all of that. So, but when you're testing that journey, this is where it goes from having 0.01% conversion rate on your Amazon listing from Facebook traffic. That's like the average. That's what's common because it's not organic traffic where you get 20% conversion rate or higher. So this is where you send people via your website or via a channel, and then you have retargeting, where first it's like, now it's actually like even better. It's like, okay, for you to do a branding ad, it's just getting into the psychology of your customer, and that's all the first ad does. You're just filtering that audience. And then the second ad is the one that's actually promoting your product. Like, yes, you could do it at the end of the first ad, but now what I'm seeing is that extending that customer journey, you're sending more data to Facebook, you're segmenting your audience better, and you're kind of going against like this big issue everyone is having in advertising that is just like so much stuff. So you kind of need to segment that a little bit further. So it would be that. And then the implementation of that, there's a lot of variety. Do you do that on your website, on somebody else's page? Then I think that's less important than actually doing it. Having the campaign structure and then thinking of the psychology of your customer. Are they analytical, emotional? What are they driven by? Are they like early adopters? They just want to share and like what is that content that'll get them to take that journey from the website to the Amazon or just to Amazon, but through content first.
Right. Absolutely. Great tips. So can you give me an example of like a typical, do you guys do, so say an agency comes to you, it sounds like, do you guys help them set this up, or are they just using the software?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like just an automated system. People sign up for Zone Tracker and then it's like activated and they're running it. And then it just depends on the different brands. I don't have any like public service where I'm like consulting anything like that. I'm just kind of like doing that privately when people reach out if it's a good fit. But most, they're just seeing different tutorials I have out there on how to leverage more effectively. And then the ones that are like just the bigger brands are kind of just like bringing me in just to see how can you leverage even more. Usually the successful ones, they figure it out. Like they know what they're doing, but still they also know that there's always room to improve. So they're like, well, is there some sort of direction or a funnel or a certain strategy that we could see traction in? And one is just having the features. I think the more advanced ones, they already know what to do with it. They're like, oh, tracking Amazon sales, optimizing for Amazon, like perfect, just like run with it. So it's kind of seeing the funnels people are running and how to plug it in with something that others may be doing that's successful or working.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for live Q&A and bonus content after the recording at SellerRoundtable.com. Sponsored by the ultimate software tool for Amazon sales and growth, SellerSEO.com and AmazingAtHome.com.